everyone, welcome to Senior Susie Stamps. This is Julia and I'm so glad you're here today. This is the first video, craft video in the new studio, and I am delighted to tell you that we are almost finished moving the boxes in. So I've gotten everything kind of roughly unpacked that I have so far, and I have a fun card for us to do today. You will need a few supplies, not many, but a circle punch is helpful. But if you don't have circle punches, you can use the bottom of a round vessel or a jar lid or whatever to cut a circle out, and that will be fine. I need some blending brushes, a couple of black pens, some colored alcohol markers. I have been using Wink of Stella this week, and very importantly, a good white pen. Now this one is an 08 Jelly Roll. This is my favorite white pen for doing any kind of white pen work. I have a few stamps here. One is a snowflake and the other is a pine bough, and they came from this partial set that I bought used. They cut they cut a couple of stamps that they wanted to keep, I guess, out before I bought it. At any rate, this is by Simply Made Crafts by Helen Griffin, and I don't know, it's got a 2019 craft stash date on them. I don't know if you can still get this or not, but I feel relatively certain that you have things in your stash that you can use. Now, I'm going to use a couple of colors of red ink, and importantly, some black pigment ink to do my stamping with. So let me show you what we're going to work on today. This is an ornament card on scraps of patterned paper, and so this is what we're going to work on, and I have several examples to show you at the end of the video, so hang loose because some of them are really quite fun. Now, I have a card base all set up, and it has kind of a gray patterned piece, a black layer, and this is a 5 1/4 inch square card. I know that square cards take a little bit more postage, but for Christmas cards, I just happen to like a square format frequently, and I was reminded the other day, if you make them 5 by 5 instead of 5 1/4 like I do, you can put them in a 5 by 7 envelope and send them without the additional postage. One of my followers on the Facebook page reminded me of that, and I had known it in the back of my mind but completely forgotten about it as I was cutting my card bases. So at any rate, this one's going to require a little extra postage. So we're going to get started with this, and the pattern paper that I have chosen today is this nice little turquoise and cream piece. It has kind of a off-white back to it, but I wanted to try the top layer on this card this way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my, let's see, this was a scrap and I just squared it off. It is 2 3/4 inches square, just so you know. And then this is a 1 3/4 inch punch, and I'm just going to punch my circle, and I'm going to use both pieces. So if you have to hand cut, if you've used the bottom of a jar or something and you hand cut, then tape it back together once you cut it out, because you will need this piece as well. I've got some repositionable tape here. This is just Scotch brand repositionable tape. It's nothing special. You can get it at Walmart, I think. And I'm just going to make a little circle of tape there. And then I'm going to place my circle where I want it on my little piece that I'm working here. I'm going to try to kind of get it in the center of this piece. Now, I'm going to use some Memento black ink for this part, and I'm just going to bump a little bit of edge around this piece just for the shadow And I didn't do that on the one that I showed you as an example, but I did it on the later ones, and I kind of like them a little bit better. It doesn't have to be real dark, but you do want to know that there's a shadow there. And we can always go back and add more a little bit later if we need to. So that's that. I'm going to pull that piece off. And you can see how immediately it brightens the piece up right away. Now I'm through with that black ink unless we need to go through and add more later. So now I'm going to take my other part of my little handmade stencil down right on that edge, and that's where this repositionable tape comes in, because when you punch you can only punch in so far, and I don't want to get any red on that little strip that's there. Now I'm going to start with the lightest color of red. This one just happens to be Poppy Parade. You use what you have. And I'm just going to go in and make a little circle of ink and leave a light spot in the middle. So you can see there's kind of a little light spot there. And I'm going to go back in with a darker color of red. This is real red. And I'm going to bring the darker color into the edges all the way around this piece. And this is where you want to make sure you get your edges darkened up all the way up into the stencil line. This is copy paper, so it's very thin, and you can get right up into that stencil line that way by manipulating your brush. And that's probably going to be enough. Now let's check it and see before we pull our stencil off. There's a little halo up in that area right there. I think that's going to be fine. It will be fine. And I'm going to go back in now before I pull this piece off with a black fine tip, ultra fine point Sharpie, and do my edge. And just take your time and run your pen right along that edge. And if it comes off, hopefully it's coming off in the right direction so that you don't mess up your ornament edge. Looks like I might have a couple of little black ticks over there. That's fine. So now you can see how that has affected this little piece, and we're going to go in now. We can pull this off and dispose of it, unless you want to make a bunch of them. I'm just telling you, this is kind of an addictive process because it's fun and it's easy and it's quick and it uses some scraps. I'm going in with my little my little snowflake stamp now, and my pigment ink, and that's important because when you're stamping in on top of this much ink that's been laid down, you really need a good wet sticky ink, and pigment ink is your best bet. Now I want to get my ornament straight because there is a up and down, well, not up and down, but there's a straight line in this ornament, in this snowflake, and I want to make sure it goes up and down on my little Christmas ornament here. So here we go. And I'm going to hold that and give this ink a good maybe 10 or 15 seconds so that it has a good transfer onto that red ink that's already been laid down there. And now I'm going to pull it straight up, and there we go. Now, I have a little more pen work to do, and I'm going to switch off to my Signo Uniball, and this is a 207. This is a wonderful black ink pen. And I'm going to pull my little ornament line right here, and maybe add a little squiggle so that just in case it's not exactly straight, it won't make any difference. And then I'm going to draw my little ornament hanger in. Just a little rectangle will do, and then go back and maybe curve the bottom of it a little bit. There we go, easy peasy. Now I'm going to switch off to a darker red pen, alcohol marker, and use the fine tip point, and I'm going to fill in a little bit of this ornament, and I'm not filling it all the way in on these little spots because I am going to go back and add some white gel pen to this. So give me just a second to get this part done. Now I'm going to go in with my turquoise colored pen and add just a little more color into this in the leaves here. And you can see on top of this pattern paper, it does not detract at all from the final image. But the thing that really makes it pull up off of the page is this white pen. And I have tried multiple white pens over my tenure as a card maker, and I'll say this particular Jelly Roll, they work well consistently. So I'm just going to put some shine lines in here. And you may have to go back 2 or 3 times and add a little bit more as it dries. I have found that to be true on these cards. But you want to let it dry and then go back in and add. And if you have to go in and add 2 or 3 layers, that's fine. Now, let's add some little white dots in here. Look at this come alive now. So these are just the snowflake dots. And now I'm going to go in and put some shine dots in. And they really bring this little ornament up off the page and make it shine. It's really impressive how just a little bit of white pen does that for us. So I'm going to go back and add a little bit more here and come on here and thicken this line up just a little bit more, and maybe these over here. There. And then I'm going to go back over these little dots. Be careful with it so that you kind of get it in the right spot. And I'm putting my pen down and then doing a little wiggle like that. I'm going to go ahead and mount this up onto this black piece, and this card will be done in just a second. Whoops, I got a little overdone on my glue there. Back that off so it doesn't get onto my black. And I get my tweezers from over here. I added a little Lazy Susan to my workstation this last week, and it really is nice. I'll show it to you when we do a full studio tour, which may be a while, honestly. I have a lot of sorting to go through, and this is going to be a really flat card, so if you have any international Christmas cards to send, these are really nice cards for that. Let's go ahead and glue this down. And then I have another one that I started on an A2 size, just so you can see how it looks in the other sides of the card. I'm going to rub it from the back. That's just my habit, to rub from the back when I'm finishing out a card. But here it is, and isn't it beautiful? I'm not going to put a sentiment on the front of this card. I'm going to do a handwritten note on the inside. So this card is finished. Now let me show you this other one that I've been making. And it has an A2 size. This is the rest of that paper pack scraps. And I have another one that I made very similar to the one that we made earlier. And it is on foam tape because I wanted it to have a little bit of extra substance here. So I'm going to pull my foam tape layers off and set that. I went ahead with my little hanging chain there and moved it on up to the top of the card here. There it is. And then I made a little Merry Christmas for this one, but I wasn't sure I wanted to actually put it on there, but I think I will. I think I'll put it right here in the middle of this card and call that done. Now, I have some other examples of this card to show you today because I thought you might be interested in seeing some other ways of doing this, especially in using up your scraps. So here are the two that we've made today, and here's the one I already showed you. Now there's an A2 size on that one as well, and it is here. This one has a little bit of Wink of Stella on it, and I went back and used my pine bough on the top of these, but on these I thought these were so small, these little scraps, I was afraid to add this in because I thought it might overwhelm the little bauble there. Let's see, I have a few more here. And there's this one. Now this is a 2.5 inch circle on a 4.25 inch square scrap. Of course it's on craft card. And here it is in red. And on this one I tried a little black glitter, and I also put a little bit of Wink of Stella around the outside. And I think I may go back and add a little Wink of Stella on this before we're through today. And this one is a strip scrap card, and it works fine for those too. So I just thought I'd give you some inspiration today on using some of your pattern scraps and making them into a nice Christmas ornament card. I'm going to go ahead and add a little Wink of Stella in on top of this white. You won't be able to see the results in the camera, but it does bring up a little shine. You just have to make sure your white gel pen is completely dry and that you don't linger with your pen at all. I mean your Wink of Stella. And if you need to go back in and add a little bit more white pen, you can do that. So there's the cards for today. And I hope you have a great week, and I will see you again real soon. Bye, everybody.